Hello, everyone. First of all, I just want to say thanks for getting in touch off the last couple of videos. It's nice to hear from so many of you, and you're sharing your own experiences with what's going on, and offering advice to other people and myself. So yeah, that's pretty cool, quite humbling. But on to lesson one, I suppose. If you haven't seen any of these videos before, the video I did yesterday, I'm basically just going to take people through the mental processes that I went through when I was in hospital, overcoming my spinal cord injury, and how I managed to turn a negative situation into a positive one, or sort my mindset out to be able to move forward in a time of uncertainty. Because I realized there was a lot of comparisons there to the situation we're in at the moment, especially around that anxiety, because no one knows what's going to happen, and people are worried about where their life's going to end up physically and financially, and it's understandable. But the first step for me is to get rid of some of that anxiety by putting your situation into context. Now, I said it yesterday, this coronavirus is obviously serious. I mean, we're all heading towards quarantine. A lot of the world is there already. However, it's not the end of the world. And actually, when I woke up in hospital from my operation, paralyzed completely from the neck down, the first thing I thought of was a situation I went through mentally with a few years before, where I lost my best friend quite suddenly. Now, at the time, that was very difficult to deal with. It still can be, but I got through it. And thinking about that, when I woke up in hospital and realizing that actually I'd been in a worse situation mentally before and got through the other side, never got over it, but got through it, gave me the confidence that maybe I could get through this mentally, that I could get through this, and that started chipping away at all of that anxiety that was hanging around at the time, and just thinking this is the worst thing in the world. And you know what, when you sat there thinking and worrying is the worst thing. It just creates inactivity. We could just sit there and just panic about all these things that we actually have no effect over. And actually that means we're not going to be able to progress and move forward and take advantage of the opportunities that have presented themselves, because, you know, one door shuts and another three open. And that is exactly the case here, but you're not going to be able to take advantage of them if you're worrying the whole time. Now, the caveat to that is anxiety and worry is completely natural. Like, feeling worried in this situation about finances, you know, not having any money coming in, or where your job's going to be, or if you're going to get coronavirus, or if your family are going to get ill, that's completely normal. But it's what you do with those thoughts that really counts. And to be able to move forward and start taking positive actions, you have to build a baseline for yourself. And the first way to start doing that, putting the foundations down, is to put the whole situation in context. And as I said, as I did with Tom, thinking back then and realizing I got through that, I started to remove some of the gravity of the situation and started to build that foundation. Then I focused on someone else who came to mind, or a couple of other people came to mind, were Henry Fraser, Matt Hampson, who were also spinal cord injuries, high level ex-rugby players, both of whom, even from the point of when I woke up, I was better off than physically. Even though I couldn't move, I could still breathe for myself properly, and I had incomplete injury, and you know, I thought to those guys and the positivity they brought with their lives, and how they managed to get through their injuries mentally, and benefit other people as well. And I started to think, well, you know, what excuse have I got? If they can do it, then so can I. So then I started to move forward mentally as well. As I said, coronavirus is very serious. I mean, we're all going into quarantine potentially soon, and a lot of the world is in quarantine. But press sells off negativity. The shock headlines are the ones that sell. So that's creating a lot more anxiety amongst the masses, and probably making this out to be a way bigger thing individually than it really is. If you think about the worry that you're having, most of that isn't because you've already caught coronavirus or you've seen people walking around in the streets with it. It's just because of what you've been reading or hearing in the news. Now, I'm not devaluing the situation, but if you look at things like people panic buying everything, toilet paper, etc. Like, why are people panic buying toilet paper? It's because of hysteria caused in the media. It's because of those images of empty shelves in supermarkets. It's just people thinking, wow, if they're doing that, then I've got to do that. It's time to remove some of that cloud of hysteria and start to look forward more positively and look at the opportunities that are there. So the first step is to get things in context. The next step I'll get onto in the next 48 hours, but just have a think about the things that you've been through in in your life, things that you've faced that have been personally more serious than catching a bad flu, and think about how you got through them, but not how you got through them, just the fact that you did get through them, and then start to relate that to your life. I know there's a lot of issues financially around people with their jobs. I'm in the same situation. As I said before, I'm not earning any money, but believe me, we're going to get through that. No one's going to end up on the streets. We're all in the same boat. That's a lie. Some people are going to struggle, but actually that's the whole thing about putting it in context. You see people on Twitter and just sort of panicking and worrying about, I don't know if I'm going to be earning next month, and there's people on the streets with the food banks empty who are going to be struggling to eat. So just think about them when you're worrying about your own situation, and also the people in hospital and the elderly that are vulnerable from this disease. But having said that, just put it in context for yourself and stop worrying on behalf of everyone else or worrying because you're being told to. That's where to draw the baseline. And if you've got to be part of the positive movement rather than the negative one, you've got to be part of the more people that take positive steps, the quicker we're going to get through this and help each other through this. So that's the first lesson for the day. Get things in context, have a serious think about this, concentrate on things that you've got through before, concentrate on people who may be worse off than you, or people who have got through things like this themselves in the past, not necessarily a pandemic, but serious situations, and just realize that this isn't the end of the world and we are going to be able to move forward. And then get excited for looking into how we're going to move forward and take advantage of all of this precious time that we've just been given. As always, please leave some messages, start a conversation. If anyone's got any other questions about anything, just give me a shout, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.